steps up. Huntley sacks T.J. Watt. NFL history. Watt has tied Michael Strahan's single-season record. Oh, no.
In the air to right. This is deep. And he did it again. Jack Sawinski wins it for the Pirates. 3 home runs in a game.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studio, right here in the municipal building. Police stations to the right, libraries above, mayor's office, admin offices are all here, and we're just here down below. We had a little technical difficulties. If you were on air watching us and you got dead space, that is our excuse. And we got a great crew here today. We'll talk about them a little bit later. And we got a lot of great football to talk about. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine, Smoking Jim Frazier, Chip Hayner, and Nick VIP Callis. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park, the greater Pittsburgh area, all the way from Nemacolin to Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between. We appreciate it. Nick, I always got to go to you on the Facebook. I know we're under that number, 6889 or something?
6975, something like that now. Yeah, we're still going down.
We're down to 6875, not 697.
No, 6975.
Oh, then we're up to that. We went down to...
Sorry.
Here's Nick.
6979. 6,979 likes.
That means we're 21 away from 7K. And if we look unusual
Can't
tonight...
somebody find us 21 more votes?
I know, we need... Hey, we got Marco here. He's a new friend of mine on Facebook. He's on
All right,
camera.
Marco!
Like Pittsburgh Sportsline. We got his dad, Mike, here. Like Pittsburgh Sportsline.
Trinity College.
Yeah, thank you. Smoking Jim's always interesting.
What Hall of Famer went there?
Can I say to Johnny, he already likes Pittsburgh Sportsline, even though he's likes wrestling and stuff. He likes our show because he thinks Smoking Jim's funnier than me. And I give you all the credit in the world for being funny and not knowing words in the dictionary, even though you got a dozen degrees from Cal U, basket weaving, tying your shoes, walking to the library to sell your books.
Personal grooming.
Yes, and and he's got something in the menus of Chinese food. So other than that, we got that clarified, and we appreciate you watching our show.
How to accept a free meal.
Yes, yes, we will do that, but we'll be passing a mic because with technological issues, we got Buck in the control room, our baseball guy with back-to-back champions. He's a pitcher. He had his first practice the other day. He's in the control room. He took over for Johnny Wonderboy Mariano, who was in the control room twice, and he did amazing work for us. Made us look great, did some cuts with the things, and he followed everything Nick wrote down and then some. So we're going to start. I'll be talking in the mic, and I'm not sure how to do this, but I'll try one-handed with my promos.
Yeah, while you do your promos, I'll go try to find us a mic stand. That way we can just set it on the desk.
And that interruption was appreciated?
From the VIP.
All right. We got that in the control room. All right. There we go. Look at that camera work by the rookie, Mike. All right. Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Frank Fanera owns it. He said hi to Smoking Jim. He wants to meet one or two sweeties. That's all he's asking for. They're at Hillcrest Shopping Center. They sponsor our show with an XL pepperoni pizza, steak hoagie cut in 6 cuts, and it's delicious. Call them at 412-831-1900. All right, our next promo, we'll see what Mike does on this one. Can you hear me all right there in the sound? All right, thank you, Buck. You can hear him in the background. Look at that. The Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Poor Joey Fabus, the young boy before DIPG and after DIPG, dreaded brain cancer. died at 8 years old, 8 years ago. Go to the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation and find out how you can donate money, time, and their great events, especially their 5K 1 mile superhero run against DIPG every September. All right, another 501c3. Here goes Mike for 3 in a row. Let's see what he come up with. Excellent. Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, 2600 South Park Road, red and white trolley out front. They do a lot of great things in Bethel with organizations and different groups. They have my favorite tea place, Reginald's Coffee. They have the best coffee in Bethel Park in the area. Hundreds of people have told me that. Matt and Julie own Reginald's for the past 3 years, and they sell a lot of coffee. I drink my green tea there, and VIP just stay out of the limelight there for a minute or two. So check them out. All right. Can they still hear me, VIP? Four in a row for Mike. There it is. The B in smiling stands for Bennett. He was a handicapped child, died at 16 and a half, had a second kidney transplant from his dad, Dean. His mother, Kristen, and Dean, after he passed away, started a 501c3. We explained to Smokin' Jim what it is, so now he could tell you about it almost intelligently. And they do a lot of great things for other kids getting kidney transplant. Check them out. Always be smiling. You can go to their Facebook page and watch their live events and stuff. There's a warning. Smokin' Jim has so many pens and markers. It's almost unheard of.
I like colors.
We just have to make one little thing here. Smokin' Jim's opinions are only his own. They represent none of us in the studio, none of us in Bethel Park, and probably no one in Monroeville.
What happened to all right white, by the way, too? And you like colors. Yeah.
You missed it. Good
Yep.
point, DIVP. All right, Dave Cable likes to have fun at me. Smokin' Jim learned about Uncle Sam when I told him he was founded in 1813. And he put my face on Uncle Sam. I want you for BPTV. Tell them Uncle Al wants you like Marco, like Johnny, like Mike, like Buck, like VIP in the studio. If you're in high school and you want to learn about audio, video, and promote things on TV, video, TikTok, any type of social media, any video or audio things, this is the place to go. Dave Cable, give him a call, 412-831-3304. All right. Let's see if Mike can keep the streak alive. All right, way to go, Mike. Bethel Park Community Foundation has money, and it's grant money for you from $100 to $5,000 for your group or organization doing great things in Bethel to make our community better. Go to bpcf.org. I'm one of the trustees on there. Every 2 months we meet. Come on in and tell us why you need money to make Bethel Park better. All right. Next up, we'll do this. I'll let Mike get it, and then I'll talk a little bit about wreaths across America. Dick Kraft, a local resident, loves our shows and loves my cooking shows. He gave us the Wreath Across America promotion. $15 a wreath to honor our veterans who have passed away. Last year we had over 400 wreaths in the Bethel Park Cemetery that's across the street from me. The First Presbyterian Church, founded in 1776, has a few Revolutionary War soldiers in there, the Fife family and others. So check it out. You can go on the Bethel Park Historical Society and get an application so you can sponsor getting wreaths. And we did even others, over 400 others, for another cemetery or two. So we're looking to do it again each year, and it's a great way to honor our vets like my dad and others who have passed away. All right, let's get to the bottom of this. Next up, can you hear me there, Buck? All right. What's on your mind, Smoking Jim Frazier?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
I
you
gave it
got
to you
to
early.
see Levine.
I gave it to you early. You got it.
My man Chip must have had a hard day at work. You got 2 bottles, huh? Cheers!
Hold it. Disclaimer. There's a disclaimer to show you.
I'm double fisting.
We gotta end some of the nonsense right off the bat.
He's in Dublin!
Where's Dublin?
Ireland, baby.
Right next to Trinity College.
I got you. Well, we have to do a disclaimer because you know when Smoking Jim's exaggerating. Last week we did a little TikTok after the show, and I go, "Oh, Chip forgot his water bottle."
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
I knew he could
I forgot
recall
about
when I
that.
spelled it out.
Yeah.
So he had to be double-fisted today.
Well, take your turn spelling it out with any color. But, hey,
Here, could I have one?
I'll go real quick. I know we
If
got
you want the green,
I know
you got to see Levine.
I know we got a lot of sports to talk about.
Hold it 1 second. You have a segment to talk about what's on your mind. Can you just find one thing to talk
Yeah,
about
this is
what's
just
on your
one thing.
mind?
And you guys are going to like this.
And here's
my
your
man,
green.
Especially my man, Nicky.
Is that right?
Yeah, Nicky Boy going to like this one.
What happened to VIP?
Listen, he is the VIP of BPTV. Hey, listen, quite a number of years back,
How many?
I ran into Coach Marty Schottenheimer, who's the only coach with 200 victories in the NFL, not in the Hall of Fame. I've been pushing for him to get into the Hall of Fame.
How's that working out?
But I ran into him, and I cornered him like, why you never give me a tryout? And so then I started asking him about coaches. Can this coach do well in the league? Can this coach do well in the league? Can that coach do well in the league? And he would say, yeah, but you never know until they do it. And I remember sitting in Three Rivers Stadium, Rod Woodson's rookie year when he held out almost till Christmas. And the Steelers was playing the game. They're getting blown out, man. They couldn't win this game. And I always stay, not like baseball. And when it comes to football, I'm the first guy at the stadium, the last one to leave. And even in the blowout, I always watch who's playing hard when you can't win. They put Rod Woodson in the game in the fourth quarter. He made every single tackle. They put him in at safety. I said he's going to be a great player. I seen a great player on Sunday. I've never been against Kenny Picket. I always said I didn't know. I didn't blame him. I always felt the Steelers put him in too soon. He did something that the announcers didn't notice. The coaches probably didn't notice. Nobody probably here noticed, but I noticed.
I noticed it.
And I'm sure Chip noticed it. Mm-hmm. When Najee Harris ran his long run,
Yep.
Kenny Picket ran past him and made a block. And
Yes, he
that
did.
would have sprung him if Deontay Johnson didn't miss the block or refused to block the guy that tackled him. And after that, I'm all on board with the Kenny Pickett. It's the little things that makes you great in my opinion.
He seriously, he was out there trying to block
That
for
was
his running
incredible to me.
back. And it's a play that most
I have a
people
question.
missed.
I'm all on board. I'm not on board with Dino
I was right
Tomlin,
there.
Coach Tomlin's son, but I'm on board.
Oh, he's going to be the first
I'm
round
on board.
draft pick next year. Yeah,
I'm on
they're
board
going
with
to take him in the
Kenny.
first round next year. There's no nepotism.
On a serious note, I got a question for you.
It's the little things that makes you a winner.
You're a Steeler scout, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a scout.
Okay,
Independent.
You're just a scout.
I just been with the Steelers
Well,
20 out of the last 25
they
years.
demoted you because
Well, they
you're-
fired me 5 times.
you
If
eat,
you want to be specific.
you eat 2 steaks all the time, so
Oh,
they caught up to that.
well, when they had all
let
black
me get to
cooks.
my question.
They had all black
You
cooks.
admit you're a scout.
Yeah.
Is that the best thing you could come up with about Kenny Pickett and a win?
Yes.
We have problems, friends.
Because, see,
I just want to share this to all of you. I watched the game, and I'm not a scout, but I haven't seen a sensational season from Kenny Pickett yet.
But here's what I look for.
Well, you need to put the rose-colored glasses
Here's
on.
what he looks for, Machine. Here's what he looks for. This is what I look for.
I can see.
When somebody, listen, a winner does things when nobody else is looking. It's how you prepare.
I was watching the game.
Football players are made from February to August when nobody's watching. It's the little things. It's the unselfish things you do that'll make you a winner. And doing that right there showed me he didn't have to. That was hustle, man. When you hustle like that, you're a winner. And the first thing I thought, I said he could have played for Pete Anamarino. And I always tell this story about Pete Anamarino, my high school coach.
At Gateway.
We were state champions. Our best player on the team, Marshall, had Ivy League scholarships everywhere.
Did he have a last name?
He had the best hands I ever seen. That was his last name. White guy named Marshall. Ivy League scholarships everywhere.
It's his first name, white guy.
First game of the season, Coach Anamarino didn't believe in laying on the field. If you had to be helped or carried off the field, you didn't play no more. He see the field again till senior night when he walked across the field with his parents. And he was the best player on our team, but he got hurt and had to limp off the field, and Coach never put him in again. So Pickett could have played for Pete Anamarino. And that's what's on my mind.
Well,
Okay.
I got to accept that. Hey, Jim Ellenbogen's watching. Ralph Williams is watching.
That's my man.
Amy Sliss is watching. She said hello. Chief is watching. Paul Haley's watching. Johnny Mariano has a question for you. He couldn't ask it because we're on air.
Okay.
So he texted it. Does Smokin' Jim want to go shopping with me on Black Friday? He can meet me in front of Target at 5 a.m. He goes to bed about 6. So I'll set it up. Please meet Johnny.
Last time I met you,
as long
I was
as you're wearing a
standing in
white
front of the
outfit.
watermelons when you.
No, that was Giant Eagle. That's another story.
As long as you're wearing a white outfit.
All right, Tony from Chick-fil-A always has something to say. Doesn't really apply to what we're talking about, Kenny Picket. You know he was the second oldest quarterback in the last 20 years picked in the first round.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because Roger Staubach
So
was pretty old.
No, he wasn't. Buck will tell you who
That
the
was
first.
that was like 60 years ago.
Yeah, but he had to
But
service.
since you're a scout,
for
I don't
4
know how
years
you
in the
missed
Navy.
that. Why wouldn't anybody else have had older quarterbacks or that age around there? Never mind. Tony has a question. Smokin' Jim, is there a decline in boxing matches? Anyone in the industry can make boxing great again.
Jake Paul.
Smokin', you have an answer?
Good point.
Those were questions. We'll move on. Thanks all of you for watching. We appreciate you. Thanks for the feedback. Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Well, I'm going to go outside of the box somewhat
That's
to
okay.
say because we don't talk much about some of the other teams in Pittsburgh. But Saturday and Sunday, there was some pretty amazing events that happened Saturday
Yeah.
and truly tragic events that happened Sunday.
Oh, man.
They were both kind of interconnected. So Pitt, for the first time ever, ended up with a 14-0 lead 16 seconds into the game on 2 consecutive plays.
Yes, sir.
They scored pick sixes. I was kind of shocked. The first pass that the Virginia quarterback threw was taken to the house. The second pass he threw, just to prove the first one wasn't a fluke. And Pitt managed to manhandle the Virginia Cavaliers 37-7. So, tip my hat. Pitt is now bowl eligible. They had a parade in Oakland because Pitt is now 6-4.
They needed one. Oh, and by the way, I had remembrance of who was our cornerback, O'Donnell, throwing 2 interceptions to the Cowboys.
Yeah.
We should have won
Well,
a Super Bowl.
Well, this is more recent.
And I believe in fixed sports.
Okay, so
So you know.
So the tragic events that are tied to the Pitt play in the Virginia Cavaliers on Saturday, Sunday evening, 3 members of the Virginia football team were murdered. Gun violence. They were on a bus ride back from New York City. They had gone with other students from the University of Virginia to go see a play in New York, and we still don't know the reasons why. But, 3 young gentlemen that were suited up on Saturday playing against the Pitt Panthers died Sunday night through senseless gun violence. And it's something that's becoming more and more commonplace, and it's sad, it's tragic. These young men were 19 years old. They had their whole lives in front of them. And, it just puts everything in perspective. Even Pat Narduzzi at his press conference yesterday, instead of talking about Pitt's victory, talked about the loss of the 3 young men that he had actually even spoken to one of them after the game was over. So I would think that we should make note of that and have a moment of silence for the young gentlemen and their families. It's a tragic loss, and it's happening far too frequently. That's what's on my mind.
Moment of silence to honor them. Okay, thank you, Dave Cable. Nick's mic was out, so we're using a mic that's on a stand right now between us. I moved it closer. So, Dave, if we sound better, let me know. If we need it closer, let me know that too. Thanks, Dave Cable, for watching us. Jim Ellenbogen said, the Steeler offense looked like an unprofessional high school offense like Gateway. I added that. Man. I added that. QB not using the pocket at all. Whoa, he continues. Cheap trick plays. Picket or Canada's plays? Good question. Ralph, our volume is low with me, maybe because we got a standing mic. So we'll have them check on that. If Buck can increase the volume a little bit for them, maybe that would help. Amy's glad the Steelers won on Sunday. So are all of us. And we'll go to the VIP, Nick Callis. What's on your mind? And he's moving the mic away from me.
Look at that. Step up to the plate.
First time ever the mic's been taken off of the talking machine. Mark this day down.
Hate technical difficulties, but I guess this is a fine accomplishment to take a mic off of Al. But, no, what's that?
Dave said talk into the mic and you sound great.
Yeah, so we just got to turn it. We got to share. Al and I got to share the mic.
Well, you'll hear this when we're sliding it over.
That's a directional mic.
How would you even know that when you learned editing?
Look at him giggling over there, yeah. Directional mic.
Here, carry on.
All right, so I'd like to mention that I've been at BPTV now for 2 years. I met Dave Cable November the 13th, 2020, and here I am now.
Lucky day.
Yeah, and so 2 days from now, 2 years ago, I met Al for the first time. So, wow. Here I am. I'm kind of shocked.
Welcome aboard.
The 2 years have flown by, so this is crazy.
And you're one of the co-hosts.
Yeah.
You're not just behind the camera like the other 3 guys.
Met Al first time outside of a family reunion.
The disclaimer we have to put out is Smokin' Jim thinks Al Levine, the talking machine, and Nick Callis both have different last names, which is not unusual in families, but we're from Greentree, both went to KO, and he thinks we have nepotism being involved, where I took care of him because somehow he's not related to me, and Smokin' Jim still brings it up 2 years later.
Never seen anybody get promoted as fast.
We've never had anybody like Nick before.
Kenny Picket.
I like that.
Chip, that was great. Carry on. I'm sorry.
All right.
Amy said happy anniversary.
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate it.
Steve says happy anniversary MVP.
MVP. Ooh.
You moved up a notch.
Taking Steve's.
You got Steve, yeah.
Steve's the MVP.
Well, he was Rookie of the Year.
Well, I call him MVP because after 5 years, you can't be a rookie. Anybody in the sports world, how long are you a rookie? 1 year?
As long as you can get away with it.
But sports related though, I was on the Fan early morning show this morning. Thank you. But I got a caller to call in talking about Pickett being terrible and the Steelers must draft a quarterback next year. I'm just kind of like, what are we doing? Like, what are we talking about here? I never supported Pickett being put in this soon. I never I never really wanted him to play at all this year. I mean, I understood that I didn't want his confidence to be destroyed. I wanted to make sure that he was ready to go, and I think that some development and just getting some experience that wasn't on the field early in the season might have benefited him. But in this case, I think it's fair to assess him for the situation that he's in, because we can only talk so much about poor decisions that the coaches are making, and I don't really trust the coaching staff because they're not transparent. I already mentioned that they're not really telling us anything, and they're making decisions that you just don't. It doesn't make logical sense. So I'm just going to assess him for what he's doing right now. He was put in the league early out of being drafted, and the quarterback depth chart has been a question mark the entire year. Mason Rudolph for about 5 seconds was the number 2 quarterback. Don't forget that until that changed. So, I mean, it's not.
That was a typo.
It's not Pickett's fault. It's not Pickett's fault. I think that he's getting the best experience he can, and I think that the experience he's getting is valuable. I don't think that we're judging anybody any differently than he is now, because he is a first-round draft pick. He has higher expectations on him, so I think that a little more patience is key to at least trust that the Steelers are going to get better with him. Now, I know Al doesn't agree, and that's fine. Al didn't have to agree, but to draft a quarterback next year, so to do that back-to-back years, not a good idea. I think that the patience with the rebuilding is going to pay its dividends when the time comes. I don't think it's time to just and the caller that I'm mentioning called Pickett terrible. I'm like, it's terrible? Is it terrible the answer? The way he's scrambling and still making some plays happen? I wouldn't say terrible.
What would you say?
Awful.
Bad. I'd say bad at the worst. It was bad.
Oh, okay. That's a step in the right direction.
At least in the first half of the game.
You lost me in everything you're saying, but go ahead.
Well, I can lose you. That's fine, but that's my opinion. I've got faith in trusting the process in this case. We don't need to draft another quarterback yet. The Steelers don't need to draft another quarterback. That's my only solution here. It's like that's not the answer, is to draft another quarterback. That's all I'm saying. That's what's on my mind here, is that if there are fans out there that truly believe that drafting another quarterback is the answer to fixing the problem, after this man said don't draft a quarterback when Pickett got drafted, right? We need to bolster other parts of the team now that don't involve the quarterback position. You're setting the team back even farther if you're not patient with this. Okay.
I disagree 100%.
All right.
But the only thing that I find perplexing, as Steeler fans, what our conversations should be is, what are the Pittsburgh Steelers going to do to defeat the Cincinnati Bengals this week? Okay, worrying about what we're going to do in April of 2023 when the whole rest of the NFL football season needs to be played out, so nobody knows what draft order is going to be. Nobody knows how many games the Steelers are going to win. Nobody knows how many they're going to lose.
I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying here.
Yeah, it's similar.
So basically what we should focus our energies on is this Sunday. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, Chip. Nick, that was very good, very informative. I had different opinions during the draft, only because it was the worst quarterback draft in at least 10 years. And we got the best quarterback who took 6 years to become a great player and beat Dan Marino's records. So me being a lifelong fan, not just because I'm older than you, but I go by the eye test. Like, how do we notice there's problems with the Steelers' offensive line, defensive line, safeties, cornerbacks, need some backup linebackers, and we don't work for a multi-billion-dollar team. So we all have that right to criticize them, and I got to disagree 100% with the quarterback draft coming up. I've seen a half a dozen quarterbacks that I was watching college football this past week, and I said to my son, Drew, by the way, Drew says, "What's up, Nick?"
Hi, Drew.
And I said, how do you feel when you watch some of these quarterbacks going? Don't they look exciting, and they're moving the ball, and they're running, and they're doing all these things? He goes, yeah. I go, what do you think if we got another quarterback? He goes, I wouldn't do it and get a quarterback, Dad. I go, I'm all in on getting another quarterback because we don't have a good offensive line. And we need help on the defensive line. They have not drafted well because we're always in the middle of the pack. Everybody knows that's a Steeler fan, at least that is sort of intelligent and not drinking Kool-Aid that's black and gold. So we've seen that. When are they going to get quality linemen? That's the question I have. But you do need every team that has a great quarterback does pretty good, even if the coaches don't know what they're doing. Like Jim Ellenbogen said, you can't win with just trick plays. And he's right. He watches the game. I watch it too. I watch fundamentals like blocking. We need that. Somehow we got enough blocking and running that we had 217 yards. And how did we play a football game where everybody's down on Canada and we had a balance with passing? Pickett had a stellar 199-yard game. I was hoping he'd get 200 so Nick and others would say process is working. I say the process is broken and the Steelers are rebuilding, and that's my opinion after watching and being a patient man for like the standard is the standard and the rubber meets the road. I don't see any of that. And then the next man's up. How did T.J. Watt, a once-in-a-generation player like Mike on camera said, he affected the defense, we couldn't win. Now he came back. He almost had a sack. If he wasn't sored up and his legs were like noodles, he said after the game, maybe he would have sacked him. But look what he was off, 6-7 weeks? So it does take time to play and be NFL ready. Pickett, I said, I wish him no ill will. But the first year would be terrible. I didn't think he should play at all, and I stayed that up front. And no matter what he's learning now, I don't think it's going to help him because of the lack of line mates. You can rebut anything.
I'll just say this. I didn't necessarily think that they should have drafted Pickett, but I understood why they might, and I predicted that they would based on information I received on the inside.
No, I respect you for that and your information and whatever sources you have. And you've stuck to it all the time. I need a drink on that. That caught me. Wow. No, at least you came clean on that because I was against that pick. And it's proving me right when I don't want to be right because I actually want the Steelers to win. And believe it or not, I know this is sacrilegious, but the Steelers will not have a winning record this year. And I'm an optimist. I'm like Chip. I'm worried about Cincinnati. All right, let's go to Fiction and Fact with Smokin' Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine. Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. But I tell you what, I'm going to go real quick.
He's like
on
David
this.
Letterman. He's got a list.
Yeah, I got a list.
He checked it. Get a marker on there.
Everybody knows I said on draft day of 2017 that T.J. Watt would be the best linebacker in Steeler history. He accomplished that. Now I'm saying he's the best player in Steeler history. I'm just going through my top 10 players in Steeler history. Number 10, Ham Lambert. Number 9, Mel Blount. Number 8, Ernie Stautner. Number 7, Big Ben. Number 6, Rod Woodson. Number 5, Antonio Brown. Number 4, Franco Harris. Number 3, Terry Bradshaw. Number 2, Mean Joe Green. Number 1, T.J. Watt. Now, I want to say the top 10 players in NFL history. Hold your question.
Wait, no, that was actually 10. You didn't have any letters.
Yeah.
First time. Hold it, Smokin' Jim. First time in 11 years of Pittsburgh Sportsline, Smokin' Jim has had a top 10 list that only, and I stutter a little, only has 10.
And here's
Carry on. We can't wait to hear more.
10. In no particular order, here's the top 10 players of NFL history. Jim Brown, Tom Brady, John Mackey, L.T. Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, Dick Buckus, Deion Sanders, prime time. Ray Lewis, John Hanna, Jerry Rice, Dick Night Train Lane, and T.J. Watt. In my opinion, he's one of the top 10 players to ever play in this league.
That was a list of 12.
Yeah. I didn't number them.
He's back. Smoking Jim is back to normal. And I'm starting to question, since he's not just a Steelers scout anymore, he's an NFL scout. His history knowledge is terrible.
What about J.J. Watt with 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards?
Yeah.
Aaron Donald with 3 Defensive Player
Aaron
of the Year
Donald ain't
awards.
been the same since he socked that guy on the south side. he ain't been to play all season.
He's triple teamed, Smoking Jim.
He's from Penn Hills, and we don't like that.
Well, we can't help it. You're from Monroeville. He calls it God's country. I heard the weather report. They got a foot of snow today, but there was one guy out there running around in shorts and a T-shirt called Smoking Jim Frazier. All right. Thanks, Smoking Jim. We appreciate all the fiction and all the fact. And we got plenty of it, especially missed. Like Chip's going to know, we're going to go to trivia time in 10 seconds.
Me and Mike agrees on TJ.
There we go. Trivia time. So right now, baseball season's over. The Rule 5 draft is the next thing up on the table. And I'm not going to bore people with a bunch of prospects that probably most of you never have heard of. So what I'm going to talk about this evening is the year-end awards in Major League Baseball.
Whoa.
And yesterday, they did announce the American League and National League Rookie of the Year. And congratulations to Julio Rodriguez of the Seattle Mariners, who got 29 first-place votes as the Rookie of the Year.
Smoking Jim, how many Major League Baseball teams there are?
I'm sure he's going to be right on. How many teams are there, Jim?
I'll be in the ballpark.
30. 30, Jim. There's 30. But Julio Rodriguez helped bring the Seattle Mariners back to the playoffs for the first time since 2002. So congratulations there. Next up on the National League Rookie of the Year, Michael Harris II. A friend of mine that lives in Atlanta that I talk to quite frequently told me to keep an eye on this kid in May. And he said, look, watch this kid. He's probably going to be National League Rookie of the Year. Michael Harris II. He got 22 first-place votes. And his teammate, Spencer Strider, got the other 8.
Wow.
So, congratulations to Michael Harris II. Now, the other awards that are coming up, and some of them have not been announced yet. One of the more controversial ones is going to be the American League MVP. And I think it's down to 2 people, even though they say there are 3 finalists. Jordan Alvarez of the Houston Astros, Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees, and Shohei Ohtani. And there's arguments for Ohtani as MVP because Ohtani did something that no baseball player has ever done in the history of the game this year. Not only hitting home runs, but as a top-notch starting pitcher. So he's in the question, but Aaron Judge in the sports capital of the world, whether you like it or not, New York City is New York City. They're going to get the best press. Aaron Judge set the record for Yankees most home runs in a season, broke Roger Maris's record. He will be in consideration. The award winner will be announced any day now, but that one's still up in the air. Then we've got the National League MVP award, where there are 2 teammates that are going head-to-head, and they're going to have to take a look at what's more important as a most valuable player for your team. Is it your offensive statistics, or does defense play into it? That comes down to Paul Goldschmidt of the St. Louis Cardinals and Nolan Arenado of the St. Louis Cardinals, third baseman extraordinaire, who just won his 10th consecutive Gold Glove at third base.
That's strong.
And he won his 6th Platinum Glove Award this year.
And Smoking
And-
Jim, that's higher.
That ain't easy to do.
That's higher.
And without any question, he is the best third baseman in baseball.
It ain't like playing
Paul
first
Goldschmidt had an incredible year.
He's done it over so many years.
And he was vying for the Triple Crown at one point. He did lead the National League in average. And finally, the third person in the conversation, Manny Machado, third baseman of the San Diego Padres. So that has not been yet determined. Next, we're going to go to Cy Young Award winners. And that award has not been announced yet. 3 top candidates: Dylan Cease, right-handed pitcher of the Chicago White Sox; Alek Manoah, the right-handed pitcher for the Toronto Blue Jays; and Justin Verlander of the Houston Astros, at 39 years old. Had a bounce-back year after Tommy John surgery.
That's amazing.
National League, 3 pitchers that are the finalists: Sandy Alcantara of the Miami Marlins, Max Fried, left-handed pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, and Julio Urias of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So, and and that leaves Manager of the Year, National League finalist Dave Roberts of the Dodgers, who guaranteed that the Dodgers would win the World Series. They won 112 games, and then they took a bow out in the first round of the playoffs. Buck Showalter of the New York Mets, and Buck Showalter has on his resume that he lost the Eastern Division title to the Braves, and ultimately lost in the wild card series. And then Brian Snitker of the Atlanta Braves. American League finalists for the Manager of the Year, Terry Francona. Mm-hmm. They said that Terry Francona is actually the winner. 112, 17 first place votes. Mm-hmm. Terry Francona from New Brighton.
Yes, sir.
Who, look what he did with the lowest payroll of teams to make the playoffs. And you know what? They took the Yankees to the 5th game. They almost took them out. They got a little bit too full of themselves once they got up 2-0. And well, the Yankees being the Yankees, they did what they do when the chips are down. They came through.
I wish he was a manager here.
Would be nice, wouldn't it?
And
but
luckily, Smoking Jim's not a baseball guy. Oh, to interrupt you, Amy says, like your haircut, Chip. Tony from Chick-fil-A, always thinking about the Pirates. Thoughts on Pirates' new first baseman, Chip?
Ji-Man Choi is a legitimate major league first baseman, and he has played adequate first base before for the Tampa Bay Rays. He had a down year this past year, and I will say this: he's better than anything else the Pirates trotted out to first base last year. So is he the answer to our problems at first base? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe not. But as I said, he's better than anything else we trotted out there last year.
Anybody can play first base.
Except Smoking Jim. He hasn't
Willie
accepted.
Stargell was 80 years old, still playing first.
Yeah, but Smoking Jim hasn't accepted Nick VIP Callis's catch a baseball with me, Smoking.
Yeah, I was going to say, I played first base for a good chunk of my career, so I got some of those little soft tip balls in my car. I'll bring them in when the show's over. We'll take a little video of you. I'll just skip them to you on the ground, and then you can skip some to me. We'll see who catches more.
My agent Marco won't let me do it.
He's gonna run. He's gonna run so fast out the door, he'll be a blur.
I gotta do a show with Ralph.
Yeah, we know that. You'll get your point. Hey, thank you very much, Chip. Great stuff. Appreciate that. I love baseball. Unlike Smoking Jim, I followed it my whole life.
First base is hard.
I played first base for a lot of years, and it's not as easy as you think.
Well,
you did it in softball.
I played it in baseball and in softball.
Hey, we'll hold that argument after the show, fellas.
We're
going to go
to shortstop.
VIP time right now.
All right, I got an opinion. This time it's about football. I genuinely believe that the Steelers can beat the Bengals on Sunday. The reason why is because of the defense, and the Bengals' offense is terrible. And I think that the Steelers' defense being stronger than the Bengals' offense could help them limit scoring and then take over and eventually win. And another thing I want to bring up that I'm going to piggyback off Smoking Jim. I guess we're reading minds. This doesn't happen too often.
Yes,
How do you get into that mind?
I was going to come in here and I was going to say T.J. Watt might be one of the best players in Steelers history, or maybe even in NFL history, whether it's because he has just some wizardry and sorcery that just makes the team play better, just his sheer presence and the pressure he provides to quarterbacks and against, linemen rushing off the edge. I mean, there's just something about him that he's worth all the money that they paid for him. He works hard, he plays well, and he influences games. Only one win without T.J. Watt in the lineup for a game. Wow. Since he's been on the Steelers, I think that's incredible. Yes. And I mean, look,
you're backing up Smoking Jim.
I'm backing up Smoking Jim. I'm just saying, it's incredible how much influence one player has on a team, and I really do believe that they would be doing better had he been healthy for the majority of the first half of the season. And you also look at the Cincinnati Bengals, a team that struggled this year, and I kind of brought that to my realization how close they actually were in the division standings to the Steelers.
Half a game.
To the Steelers last year, and the Bengals would have had the tiebreaker.
Half a game.
They would have had the tiebreaker, though, because they beat the Steelers twice last season. But still, it's like they were that close, and I think they got hot and they got on a run at the right time, falling in the biggest game. But, they had a lot of flaws. And for a team that claims that it shored up its offensive line before the season, they really didn't, or the product isn't what was advertised. So I think the Steelers can pull it off. Not necessarily that I want them to, because I still think that not winning and accumulating draft capital is important to the team and the rebuild process and getting more talent. But, the AFC North is just weak. And a Bengals team that was favored coming into the season, Chris Collinsworth during the Super Bowl saying, this isn't Joe Burrow's last time in the Super Bowl. I really listened to that comment, and I said, man, he's really trying to make the fans feel better in the moment, because they're not as a team strong. Joe Burrow can be a talented quarterback, but think about all the sacks he overcame in the playoffs to, make plays to have them do well.
One interruption. Did Cincinnati have a good offensive line last year?
No.
Did they improve their offensive line this year?
So they claim. It's a legend.
No, they didn't.
Yeah. So
I rest my case.
So yeah, especially with T.J. Watt back, and think about this example too. With Minka being not being in the lineup, they still held well together. Minka doesn't have that much influence. He's good and he impacts the team a little bit. He has talent and he plays well. But just T.J. Watt in the position that he's in, the way he edge rushes, just the fear that he strikes in teams where there's a channel of doubt in there. Whenever he's on the move, that's the power move there. That's why I think the Bengals are going to lose, and that's why I think that T.J. Watt is really one of the greatest that you're going to see on the defensive side of the ball ever.
I think the big key to the game on Sunday.
Wait, real quick.
Is the lack of Jamar Chase.
Real quick. Can I know what you think?
Huh?
Chip always tells me what he thinks. I just want to know what you think about this.
That was great. A+. The show's always better when everybody agrees with me. Don't you agree?
I disagree with you.
No, I believe that the key to this game is the fact that Jamar Chase isn't going to be playing.
Good point.
I mean, that takes a lot of pressure off the defense. You can double down on T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd at this point isn't going to beat you.
Good point.
Good point. Claudio, thanks for watching us. Our friend
That's
Claudio Rosano. Claudio Rosano's watching. Thank you. Jim Ellenbogen said, Smoking Jim, Steelers underdog 4.5 points.
Wow.
Paul Haley used to live in Bethel Park. He's retired. He said, Smoking Jim, what about Youngwood PA's George Blanda?
Yes,
At least
yes,
an honorable mention, or maybe 13 or 14?
Yeah, I got to have George Blanda on there. That was my man.
He's one of the 6 Hall of Fame Western Pennsylvania quarterbacks.
Yes, sir.
Jim O'Brien wrote a great book this past year. Smoking Jim got it for free and gave it to me and the guys here. So I read it. Smoking Jim hasn't seen it yet.
He hasn't taken it out of the cellophane.
Yes, and we're gonna go back. The show's under about 6.5 minutes. We're gonna go to On Location right now in 10 seconds. Okay, nothing really happening on location right now. We're getting near the end of the year. We thought we might have some boxing events coming up, but so far no good. We got a couple events already scheduled for next year. And on my segment, I'd like to bring up some Penguin talk, since we're missing that each week because we get carried away with, I'll call it some of the nonsensical type things that we talk about from the other side of the table. So
They're down 2-0 right now.
I heard they were down 3-0. Somebody reported 3-0. So is there an update to that? And the Penguins have had a couple nice wins recently, and they had that 7-game losing streak, which Smoking Jim said
2-0.
He bet hockey. All right, we got 2-0 that they're down to Toronto Maple Leafs, and
They've won 2 of their last 10 games.
right. Well, in the last 3 or 4, they've won 2 games.
Well, and here's what the problem is with the Penguins. If the game ended after the second period, they'd probably be undefeated right now. But they can't seem to close out games. They don't show up in the third period, and they give up whatever leads they have. And then
Why do you think that is, Chip?
The team's old.
Well, only 3 guys are old, right?
No, they're just not a very good hockey team right now. Now, does that mean they can't get better? Possibly, but if they continue on their losing ways, how much longer is Mike Sullivan going to be the
Hold
coach
it.
of the Penguins?
I've explained over the years the expiration date. Smoking Jim, that means they get fired within 4.3 years. He passed that threshold. Yeah. He's in uncharted territory. He's won 2 cups. He's the winningest coach in Penguin history. I think he got another couple years no matter what, even if he loses the legendary 3 that have done it. So I think that's where we're at with it. And Nick?
Well, he signed him to an extension, so that's kind of, foregone conclusion. But also, this is one of those situations the Penguins are in right now that where once I thought they could bail themselves out with high-end talent and experienced talent, I no longer believe that they can bail themselves out. I think it's possible. Chip's fine and, saying that. I think it's possible that they could, turn it around. But I have more doubt now than I ever have because of how old the core is, and they're just not in a position right now where they can play catch-up. They're not young enough anymore where I believe that they can play catch-up consistently. It's just I have my doubts in that regard.
But it's not so much playing catch-up as that they're having trouble holding a lead.
No. I didn't mean playing catch-up in the game sense. I know that they're holding leads. I'm saying they had struggling months earlier in the seasons before, and they were able to come back and get a January, February push that got them into a favorable playoff spot. I didn't mean individual games. I know they're holding leads early and giving them up. I'm talking about if they keep losing games, they're not going to be able to have a push like they have before in months to be able to make up for the losses they had early.
One thing I wanted to add, Letang usually puts up 28 minutes. He looks tired at the end of games, hence our defensive flaws. So I see that. Chief wanted to bring up a point. He goes, Mel Blount and Joe Green better than Watt. They changed the rules to slow Joe and Mel down. It didn't work. So have they changed the rules with T.J. Watt?
Well, here's the thing, and Jim's always going to bow towards T.J. Watt being the greatest ever. But until he's got 4 rings or more on his finger, he's not going to be in the same orbit as Joe Green and Mel
Chip,
Blount.
you're 110% correct.
Because me and Nick feels TJ.
I still feel the way I feel.
Hold it. There's 4 guys on the panel, and I'm against Smoking Jim because Mel Blount, I figure, is one of the greatest Steelers in history. He changed the game and still played at high levels, and I believe at his age he could play better than some of our players
Black
in the
man wearing a
secondary.
cowboy hat in Pittsburgh. Come on, you can't put him that high.
Go ahead.
50
Go ahead.
years.
Go ahead. Give him a ration of guff about that. You'll be walking with a permanent lip.
I mean, the only rebuttal I'd have to that is just like I talk about this in baseball all the time, where the athletic level of players is just going up because players over time are trying to get better, and science and research kind of help make
cheating
and make. Well, no, not entirely. Not entirely. I'm not bringing up cheating. I'm just saying athletes over time. The average athlete has been getting better over time. So in that regard, I'd say if we're going to make the people that change the game before, and we're going to judge them solely for changing the game in its time, that's like saying that Babe Ruth would succeed now in Major League Baseball. It's not.
Yes, he would.
Yeah.
Oh, you just hit
Babe
it wrong
Ruth,
arm.
if you look at a young
That's his
Babe
man.
Ruth, here I wanted to share
No,
this.
well, he would've-
Look at a young Babe Ruth. You've only seen him as a fat man.
Yes, sir.
Smoking Jim was under a picture of him. He was an athletic guy.
I know that.
And he was a thin guy, and he could run like the wind.
Yes, sir.
So we're almost out of time. I appreciate disagreeing, and you disagreeing with me, buddy. And the cheating is we have an NFL scout that says if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So there's that mentality that you can't overcome.
I'm just, and the assumption that they're not cheating. Players are getting better because the science and research toward working out has always been getting better.
We'll carry this discussion on at a later date, even
Hey,
off
hey.
air. We got to end this. Stay Joey strong.